So, the first thing I want to say is that this is going to be a duplicate recording, or at least the footage will be duplicated because I want to get out 2 videos rapidly, and I'm not really going to have time to play this game for a bit because I'm going to be cooking for Christmas because apparently my COVID test came back. I'm negative, the girlfriend's negative, my mom's negative, so we're going to go and have Christmas at my mom's house. So anyway, so just to let you know about that. This video is going to be me talking about some things, some 7 legitimate concerns that I have about Cyberpunk 2077. And they have nothing to do with the bugs, because people keep on talking about that. And like I said, I mean, my gameplay has been a little buggy, but not game-breaking. It's been like, oh man, this texture isn't loading, but nothing like, oh my god, this is unplayable. So with that being said, let's get into it after the cut with my top 7 complaints about the game, that things that I wish they had in the game, and they might have it. I haven't gotten like ultra far in the game. I've put maybe 20-25 hours into it. So with that being said, let's get to it after the cut. So Cyberpunk 2077 is a game all about how technology has basically, in corporate oligopoly, has enabled a dystopian future where, you know, the technology that was supposed to make the world better has instead made it far, far, far worse due to corporations being able to do whatever the hell they want with no repercussions, or very little repercussions. But one of the key things about it is how technology has advanced so far and is able to do so many things, and how humanity's growth hasn't kept up with that technology. Like, humanity hasn't gotten better, it's gotten worse by and large. Well, here's something I noticed about this game, okay? In this game, you can get phone calls directly to your audio implant. You can summon your car to you. But you know the one thing in Cyberpunk 2077 that seems missing? You can't listen to the radio while you're walking around. Kind of weird, huh? I mean, GTA 5 let you basically create your own custom playlist. This game does not. What the fuck? Like, literally, what the fuck is with that? It's a small gripe, but it seems like, wow, you can't do that? Just seems out of left field that a game about technological progress and all the things technology can do and how humanity hasn't kept up with technology, but you can't listen to the radio while you're walking around? Seems a little suspect to me. But hey, you know, maybe they'll fix it with a patch. Complaint number 6. Complaint number 2 coming up next. My second complaint is about change, or the lack of change. This game is basically built on the concept of Cyberpunk 2077. And I know in the tabletop game you can change your stats, but like it's like you gotta do a lot of shit to do it. But this game, like, essentially speaking, in the beginning of the game, your stats suck for basically everything. Your ability to shoot sucks. Your hacking ability sucks. Your athletic, like, all of your abilities kind of suck in the beginning of the game. And essentially, as time goes on, your stats get better. But here's the thing. You have a finite amount of stat points that you can earn in the game. Now, full disclosure, I'm playing this game with cheats, and one of my playthroughs with cheats, and all my character, this character basically has all of his stats maxed the fuck out. He's an almighty character. Because I wanted to be able to basically dabble in all the play styles and find out what I really liked for my second and third playthroughs. But the thing that I noticed about this game is, essentially speaking, like, no matter what your playstyle is, you have no way of changing your stats at a certain point. Like, if, let's say you want to be a cool character who's like all about, killing people quickly and efficiently, cool style, like John Woo martial arts style, and then you find, hey, actually I want to be a hacker. If you put a lot of points into cool and you find yourself not really using it that often, you're pretty much shit out of luck trying to change that shit, which is some bullshit, really. I mean, like, how do you have an RPG where you can't change your stats? That is just bad design. But, that's one of the small things where I'm like, okay, this, bad idea. But hey, maybe they'll fix it in a future patch or with DLC or whatever. So here's my number 2. That was my number 2 complaint. Here's my number 3 complaint. So one of the issues that I have with this game is that they're really the reputation system it doesn't exist. The reputation system you have in this game is street cred, which basically is just kind of a way of gating you getting really good shit from vendors and picking up certain missions. I think that's kind of stupid. I personally think that there should, instead of street cred should be converted into your citywide reputation. There should be 3 types of reputation. There should be citywide reputation, factional reputation, and personal reputation. So your citywide reputation would be like something like, hey, like, as you do overall citywide jobs, like story-based jobs and, big major jobs, the city's, the major organizations in the city's overall opinion of you would go up or go down. And basically all those metrics would determine what your citywide reputation is. And also how certain characters, how certain jobs that would be available to you or not available to you, either way. Which leads to the second tier below that of reputation, your factional reputation. So basically, like, your factional reputation would be your reputation with various factions. So let's say you do a lot of jobs where you're taking on gangs in a certain precinct. Well, the NCPD in that particular precinct would be like, hey, we like this guy. He's helping us take down the gangs in this area. And, a gang that might be against that gang might like you because you're the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So your factional reputation with them would go up, which means they would offer you more jobs. If you go to stores that are in their area or run by those particular factions, you can buy shit that normally you wouldn't be able to buy. I think that would be fucking awesome. And a testament to good design. Leading to the third reputational level, which would be your personal reputation. So basically, this would kind of like be your good or evil, good karma, bad karma type thing. So if you go around just murdering everybody, the enemies would begin to pick up on that. Like, scrubs, low-level goons would not want to fight you because they're like, this motherfucker's going to kill me, right? Now, if you don't take out a gang in an area, like just wipe them all out, yes, they will kill your ass. They'll send tougher enemies after you in order to take you out. But I think that would really add some depth and complexity to the game. But hey, that's just my opinion. My fourth complaint after the cut. So, My big thing, my fourth complaint is just pretty simple. I think that you should be able to hire hirelings or mercenaries, underlings, to help you out for certain missions. Like, you should be able to, like, maybe the first time you got to go and meet them, and then after you do 2 or 3 missions with them, you can just call them and offer them to help you on a mission for a cut of the money. Because let's keep it real, with the thus far that I'm aware of inability to reset your stats and respec your character, it's kind of a shit thing. Because basically, if you have a mission where the best reward you can get is by being ultra stealthy and hacking shit, and yet you have a build that's not good at hacking and not stealthy, you should be able to hire someone to do that shit while you distract people or do something else. Why is it that you basically can't really deal with that shit? That's kind of a flaw with the game, I would say. A bug in the system, if you will. And I really do think that the game could do with having the ability to hire people to help your ass out. And I know some people are going to be like, well, how could you say that? But seriously, you could totally change that game by doing that. That could add some depth and complexity. Now, of course, you'd have to have better AI algorithms for the underlings. Because basically, most of the missions in this game where you're with someone else, it's all scripted. Which, I mean, it is what it is. And I know CD Projekt Red worked really hard on this game. The developers did. But still, you could totally do that. But that's my opinion. Let's get to my fifth complaint after the cut. So this is just more of a nitpick, but it's also a complaint too. I think it's odd how in this game there's animated where other characters are eating, but you can't eat. Kind of weird. It's kind of weird that there's an entire cutscene where you see a guy eating synth noodles, and yet your character can't eat. And I'm not saying they need to animate a third-person view of your character eating with the camera panning out. They could just have your character reaching out, picking something up, and doing the chopsticks, or have a sandwich in their hands and putting it to their mouth and hearing the chewing. That would be good. Why is it that I can go to restaurants and order shit, but I don't actually eat it? Or I can sit down at a bar and order something. And I know they could have had this in the game because there's a part in the game in a cutscene where you're drinking tequila. So clearly they could have it. They just, for some reason, don't. It's baffling. It's baffling. My sixth complaint is coming up next, and let's get to it. So one of the small issues that I have with this game is that, essentially speaking, there isn't enough cyberpunk in my cyberpunk. What I mean by this is, if you played the cyberpunk tabletop game, there is a lot of people basically having cosmetic surgery to look like other shit. And they kind of hint at it in this game where they have a drink that you can take that makes that basically can make a woman apparently grow a dick, or make a dude look like a woman. I don't know. I haven't really paid that much attention to the commercial in the game, but I mean, for a game that's supposed to be all about cyberpunk, there's not enough cyberpunk in my cyberpunk, for lack of a better term. And I'm like, come on, bruh. I mean, you're better than this, dude, if you will. For example, I mean, the character customization isn't as wild as it could be when you create your character, and you can't really go and recustomize your character. You can't go and change how you look, which is just weird. Because in most video games that are like this, you can customize how your character looks. It's weird that you can't. Just really fucking weird. Just really, 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 really fucking weird. Which leads to my 7th complaint after the cut. So here's another complaint that I have about Cyberpunk 2077. As someone who's played the tabletop game, there isn't in this game. There isn't a little something called. Well, one of the big things in this game is they're like, oh, we don't know why these people are going into cyber psychosis. Okay, first of all, if you play the tabletop game, it's explained why people go into cyber psychosis. It's an explained phenomenon, okay? Basically, in Cyberpunk 2077, there's a little stat called humanity. And the more cybernetics you implant into yourself, the lower your humanity score goes. And basically, your humanity score gets, the lower it goes, the less of a connection you have with humanity. So essentially speaking, the higher the chance you just see humans, not yourself as not being a human, but being more of a machine. So essentially speaking, you reach a point where you go into cyber psychosis and start murdering humans, okay? And that's a bad thing. And that's the explanation. In this game, they're like, we don't know what causes it, but it was explained in Cyberpunk 2077. And I think they should carry that over into this game, where literally the more cybernetics you install in yourself, the worse it gets. Now, there's a shifter doc that you can talk to, a ripper doc that you can talk to in the game, who they hint at, which tells me the developers knew about it. He has dialogue that says, well, one of the big things, like your character V goes up to them and says, hey man, you're built like a brick shithouse. And he's like, well, and not prosthetics. He's like, well, believe it or not, the more prosthetics you put into your body, the longer it takes for you to basically do things with your cybernetic prosthetics. So it kind of hints at, having a lot of cybernetic prosthetics fuck up your ability to function as a human being, and yet they're afraid to pull the trigger. It's like, basically, for lack of a better term, Cyberpunk 2077, with some of their quests and shit, is essentially like someone talking about using euphemisms for sex instead of just talking about what they want to do. That's basically what it is. It's like, hey, I heard you fingered her bush, or hey, I heard you went down the old Hershey Trail. It's like, why don't you just say what you want to say instead of using euphemisms, okay? Like, what are you, like 5? And that's one of my problems with the game, is that it's just kind of afraid to talk about shit, which bothers me. It's kind of afraid to actually embrace the cyberpunkness of its source material, which is weird because CD Projekt Red really bragged about essentially, using this license, and yet they're kind of like afraid to really embrace it. So those are my 7 complaints. I'll get to my conclusion after the cut. So my summary is pretty simple. Basically, I feel that Cyberpunk 2077, is essentially, there is a good game in here, past the bugs. And I'm pretty sure that once CD Projekt Red updates the game and does all the stuff they're supposed to do, it's going to be a great game. As a matter of fact, I feel it in my bones, okay? I feel that this is going to be a great game once those bugs are patched out. But the underlying foundation of the game is pretty good. It's just there's a lot of fuck ups this, there, and around the bend, which is where it kind of falls apart. With the coding and stuff like that. But the foundation is pretty solid. So with that being said, my opinion about this game is this. I feel that this game could be better. It could be a lot better. It's not terrible, but it could be a lot better. It will get better as CD Projekt Red updates the game and shit like that. It'll be worth the time and effort and all that shit. So, with that being said, these are just a few complaints that I have about the game, legitimate complaints that aren't about the bugs. From what I've played of it, I've enjoyed it. I just wish it embraced its source material a little bit more. But with that being said, those are my opinions. That's how I feel. You can tell me how you feel after the fact. If you have any legitimate complaints that aren't bug related to this game, let me know. And with that, that's the end of this video. The next video will be coming up sometime later this week, definitely before Christmas, so tomorrow. And we will have a podcast the day after Christmas, the 26th. And it's going to be a good one. It's going to be our end of year podcast. We're going to be talking about all types of fun shit. So with that being said, rate, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun jazz. We have a podcast every Wednesday and Saturday, 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to be a part of the podcast, you can reach me at mrredfoxbsbuster@gmail.com. On Twitter at Matthew Wesley, at Mr. Redfox91, or there's a link to the Discord in the description. So, peace, enjoy, Happy New Year, and say it with me, fuck 2020, let's look forward to 2021.